So what a lot of people do in this scenario is they make the mistake of just shoving or folding everything. If you use a shove or fold chart 15 big blinds deep in a tournament, you are taking your money and lighting it on fire. And please, please, please don't light your money on fire. Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan Little for PokerCoaching.com, here today to share with you how to use our GTO Preflop cash game and tournament charts that are part of the Poker Coaching membership. First things first, you log in, you'll be on the dashboard like you see here. If you are not a member, by the way, you can go to PokerCoaching.com/free to get a free membership that will get you access to some of the charts. The premium members have access to all of the charts. So what you do is you go down here to the tools section, and then you navigate to either the GTO MTT preflop charts, multi-table tournament, or the GTO cash game charts, depending on which game you want to play. We'll take a look at the cash game chart or tournament charts and then the cash game charts. You'll notice a whole lot of other tools available here for the members. We'll discuss those another time. All right, let's take a look at the tournament charts. These charts assume there is a one big blind ante in play. And the way you use this is you have to enter this information at the top of the page. Also, by the way, these charts are available on the Poker Coaching app that's available for the iTunes or Android App Store at PokerCoaching.com/app. It's completely free, so make sure you download the app, and that'll give you access to whatever membership level you have on the site, including lots of classes, courses, quizzes, all sorts of good stuff available there for you. If you like this video, by the way, do me a quick favor. Click the like and subscribe button below. I'd appreciate it. All right, what we do is we enter the number of blinds we have. Let's say we're playing 15 big blinds deep. We enter our position. Let's say we are on the button. And then the charts automatically bring up your RFI strategy, your raise first in strategy. This assumes everyone folds to you on the button. And now, this on the right shows you how you should play each portion of your range. The hands in dark red opt to just shove it all in for 15 big blinds. And then the hands in light red opt to minimum raise. And you can go through and you can select any position. Let's say we're in the cutoff instead. You'd use a tighter strategy, right? Say we're under the gun. We'd use an even tighter strategy with almost no all-ins. Okay, but let's take a look at this chart. So what a lot of people do in this scenario is they make the mistake of just shoving or folding everything. If you use a shove or fold chart 15 big blinds deep in a tournament, you are taking your money and lighting it on fire. And please, please, please don't light your money on fire. You want to make sure you're playing at least a reasonably sound GTO strategy. Now, I want to make this really clear, because in tournaments, there are usually going to be payout implications when stacks get very shallow, and that's going to force you to play a different strategy. I actually discuss thoroughly how to adjust your strategy based on the payout implications in my tournament masterclass. You can find that right here in the courses tab. That's a 30+ hour long course explaining all of the common scenarios you're going to be in. But let's say, for example, we're on the bubble, 15 big blinds deep. If everybody else yet to act has 30 big blinds, we're going to be pretty tight, right? Because we want to sneak into the money. But let's say we have 15 big blinds and both the players in the small blind and big blind have 6 big blinds. We're going to be shoving all in super duper wide. Or let's say they even have 14 big blinds, just a little bit less than us. We're going to be shoving super duper wide. We're going to be playing way more hands because of the payout implications. So please make sure you account for those. These charts assume there are no payout implications. If you wanted to have payout charts for all the scenarios with all the payout implications, you'd end up with just like a bazillion charts. We only have many thousands of them. All right, in this scenario, this is what we should do. Let's take a look at, from the button though, say we raise and we face an all-in from, here, let's face a 3-bet all-in from the big blind. So here, we raise the button, big blind goes all in. Here is our strategy. This is what we're gonna call off with. We call all the hands in green, and we fold all the hands in blue. All the hands in gray are not in our range. You may say, why don't we have ace-jack offsuit? Well, if we go back over here to our raise first in strategy, you see that we shoved all in with our ace-jack offsuit, so we don't have it anymore, right? So whenever we raise and get shoved on, we don't have ace-jack offsuit, so it's not going to be on that chart. By the way, you may take a look at some of this and see that some of these hands are mixed frequencies. Like, take a look at this king-8 offsuit, right? It raises 73% of the time. The way I typically play these hands is that if the players yet to act are a little bit on the passive side, I'm just going to raise these mixed frequencies most of the time. And if they're on the more loose, maniacal, active side, I'm going to be more inclined to just fold. But you know, if you can use a random number generator or whatever you want to do. But to keep things simple, raise slightly wider if they're tight, raise slightly looser if they're aggressive, and a good way to do that is to just adjust with the hands that are using mixed frequencies. Okay, and let's go through a few other spots, right? Let's take a look at 40 big blinds, let's say. On the button, you see we're playing these hands. Let's say we are facing a 4-bet all-in. How would we be facing a 4-bet all-in from the button? Well, someone would have to raise, we would have to 3-bet, and then they would 4-bet us all in. So when we click here, we'll see that we're only going to be against the early position players, right? Because the players yet to act will not have the option to 4-bet us. These charts do not account for the times where like someone raises, we 3-bet, and then the big blind 4-bets, because that gets very, very murky. But we'll get those eventually. All right. Versus the 4-bet all-in from, let's say, under the gun. So under the gun raised, we 3-bet them, and they shove on us. This is our strategy. And you see 40 big blinds deep, we call it off with the best hands, we fold the other stuff. You may be surprised to see ace-queen fold, but ace-queen is essentially a very, very good 3-bet blocker bluff before the flop. You may again notice these hands in blue are all shaded 100% of the time, but they're actually not in our range 100% of the time. We just do this so it's really easy for you to see. Let me show you our 3-bet strategy against under the gun. You see here that these hands are all used very infrequently, right? Whenever you are looking at your 3-bet or your strategy against an initial raise, by the way, you do want to use some of these bluffs most of the time unless your opponent's just really, really tight. You always want to make sure you have some bluffs in your range. Of course, I want to make this crystal clear. If your opponents are really, really bad and you know what they do incorrectly, don't play the GTO strategy. Adjust and take advantage of them. Let's say you know under the gun is a super tight player. Don't 3-bet bluff them. Duh. Come on, everybody. Let's say the under the gun player is a lunatic. Well, you can 3-bet the hand like ace-queen offsuit and then call it off if they shove because they're going to shove super wide, right? So you got to use a little bit of common sense. All right. We have charts for the small blind. Let's say everyone folds to us in the small blind. You'll see this strategy playing 40 big blinds deep against only the big blind. You'll see this is using lots and lots of mixed frequencies. Also in the tools section at Poker Coaching, we have implementable GTO charts, which make this pretty complicated strategy much easier to play. It's not going to be quite as perfect as this strategy, but it's going to be pretty close and way easier to play. So make sure you check those out as well, especially if this kind of thing is very, very difficult for you to implement. And notice here, you can go over and look at like 15 big blind charts, right? You see some shoves and some limps playing 15 big blinds deep from the small blind when they fold to us. Because you don't really want to raise to 2.5 or 3 big blinds and then have to fold to a shove, right? We also have big blind charts facing all sorts of scenarios. Facing a limp from the small blind, you see that the big blind, 15 big blinds deep, would use roughly this strategy where it raises small with its best hands plus a pile of nonsense bluffs, and it rips it all in with these hands that have pretty good equity. I actually go through a lot of these scenarios and explain why the solver does what it does in my tournament masterclass. So if you want full explanations on that, make sure you check that out. So anyway, those are the tournament charts. Those are available. If you're a Poker Coaching Premium member, you have full access to all of those, and you have them available on your phone as well. We also recently added cash game charts for 100, 150, and 200 big blind poker, which is always fun to see because I was not fully aware of how to play 200 big blinds deep. Let's take a look at this, though. Let's go through 200 big blind poker. Let's say we are in the low jack seat. Here's what we should play if they fold to us. You're going to notice immediately that you want to play pretty tightly whenever we are playing in a cash game that has a rake and no ante. You're going to find that you should be substantially looser in tournaments. For example, let me just show you real quick. 80 big blinds deep from, let's say, the low jack. In a tournament, you're supposed to play 22.5% of hands. Let's go over here and select 100 big blinds deep from the low jack. You're supposed to play 16% of hands, right? So these charts, in theory, should be very close to similar because 180 are pretty similar. But the cash game charts presume no ante and a rake. Okay? So make sure you realize that. Let's take a look at 200 big blinds deep. Low jack, let's say, versus a raise from under the gun +1. You see here, a whole lot of 3-betting is recommended. A lot of people do not 3-bet quite often enough in these scenarios. They do a whole lot of calling. Other people 3-bet all the time, which is also a bit of a mistake. You should have a calling range very, very deep stacked. You can go through and compare this to 100 big blind poker. You see slightly different strategies, right? You can also 200 big blinds deep, let's say, versus a 5-bet, non-all-in 5-bet from the button. So here we raise, they 3-bet us, we 4-bet them small, they 5-bet us, non-all-in. You see, these are like, I mean, we're trying to cover every scenario that's reasonably going to happen, right? And you see here, kind of like the tournament charts, all of these are shaded 100%, even though like A7 suited, I'm sure, is a very small frequency hand in the spot. But you see, somehow, 200 big blinds deep, you're actually supposed to fold kings every once in a while. You may say, fold kings? Why would you fold kings? Well, it turns out you got to be very, very cautious in these scenarios. It's pretty interesting to see these very mixed frequencies whenever we are playing in this very, very abnormal scenario. Let's look at versus 6-bet all-in. How do we be against a 6-bet all-in? Under the gun raises, we 3-bet, they 4-bet, we 5-bet, they 6-bet. You see here, you just call it off with the best hands, and you fold everything else, even ace-king offsuit. So, anyway, figure out whatever game you play, and make sure you understand the GTO strategies with the idea that you are going to adjust away from the GTO strategies to take advantage of whatever your opponents do incorrectly. And, you know, while it is cool and exciting to see like what you're supposed to do against a 6-bet, realize that a lot of these spots are very common where it just like folds you on the button. What should you do 200 big blinds deep? It's important to know that kind of thing. It's important to know as well, you raise a little bit wider on the button when we're playing deeper stacked, right? You see here, 43% raises from the button, 100 big blinds deep, but 46%, 200 big blinds deep. It's important to know this kind of thing, and if you don't know this kind of thing, you're going to leave a little bit of money on the table. So make sure you take advantage of the tools we have available for you at pokercoaching.com. Again, these are fully available for the premium members. I know there are other sites out there that will charge you just for charts, and they'll charge you way more money than we charge. And, well, that's silly. You might as well get them included in your Poker Coaching Premium membership. Also, they're available on your phone too, so you can reference them before you play. Don't reference them while you're in a hand, but reference them before it's your turn. Let's say you're playing a cash game and you're kind of new to this scenario, 200 big blinds deep. While the dealer's shuffling, it's okay and allowed currently to get out your phone and look up this exact chart. You can pull it up just as quick as I pulled it up here. It takes 1 second. And you'll know, all right, if they fold to me and I have the 10-8 offsuit, I'm supposed to raise this hand 100% of the time against reasonably good opponents. And that is very, very relevant. Let's say you know your opponents are a little bit on the tight side. Well, you should know that you should raise this range plus a few more hands. So make sure you are consistently referencing these charts until it becomes second nature to you. I will caution you, some online sites do not let you use GTO charts while you are playing. So if you're playing on a site that does not allow that, don't break the terms and conditions of the site. It turns out if you break the rules, well, they may ban you and you don't want to get banned. So make sure you follow the rules and regulations of your site. So that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, do me a favor and click the like and subscribe button below. I do my best to help you know how to play in all the common scenarios you are going to be in. And, well, you're dealt some hands pre-flop every single hand. You're dealt a hand pre-flop every hand. And if you screw that up by playing either too loose or too tight on a regular basis, you're just giving your money away. And I don't want you to give your money away. And also, if you use very simple strategies like an all-in or fold strategy playing a tournament, you're also giving your money away. And you can go through the tournament charts to see that you definitely should be using min raise or shove strategies. You could also go in, by the way, and add a limping strategy if you felt inclined, but we saw that that did not actually increase your equity much at all. So therefore, we left that out. We're trying to do our best to make these strategies implementable for you. It's important to be able to implement the strategy. If you screw it up left and right because the strategy is too complicated, it doesn't do you all that much good. So that's going to be it for today. Thanks again for watching. Good luck in your games, and hope you enjoy the charts. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want more strategy lessons, pre-flop charts, and interactive quizzes, make sure you get your free membership to pokercoaching.com right now at pokercoaching.com/free. I'll talk to you next time.